Up dog.
Up dog. Up dog.
Up dog sports talk.
Hello, and welcome to Up Dog Sports Talk NFL Edition, Episode 2. I am your host, Matt Miller. Justin McGovern is not going to be joining us today. We're going to hopefully have him back next week. We have stayed in contact, so he has sent me his picks for today's show. But today we are going over our midseason awards for the NFL. Our categories are Most Valuable Player, which usually goes to a quarterback. Offensive Player of the Year either goes to a quarterback, very good running back, or if your name's Calvin Johnson, for a wide receiver. Defensive Player of the Year typically goes to shutdown corner or fantastic edge rusher. Offensive Rookie of the Year has, in years past, gone to a quarterback. Defensive Rookie of the Year kind of follows the Defensive Player of the Year categories of shutdown corner or edge rusher. Then we have Coach of the Year and our exciting own pick of Dingus of the Year. And I will be kind of going over each pick with all the nominations and a few stats mixed in to kind of keep you up to date and to see where each player is at. We are going to start with our most valuable player in the NFL in the first half of the 2020 NFL season. Our nominees are Aaron Rodgers, 189 attempts, 280 completions, 2,253 yards, 24 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 67.5% completion percentage. And then we have Russell Wilson, 211 completions, 297 attempts, 2,541 yards, 28 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 71.4% completion percentage. Our reigning MVP, Patrick Mahomes, 220 attempts, or completions, 329 attempts, 2,687 yards, 25 touchdowns, 1 interception, 66.9% completion percentage. A newbie this year with Josh Allen, 217 completions, 315 attempts, 2,587 yards, 19 touchdowns, 5 picks, 68.9% completion percentage. And what is an MVP award without including the old man, Tom Brady? 226 completions, 346 attempts, 2,398 yards, 20 touchdowns, 7 picks, 65.3% completion percentage. Justin sent me his picks last night, and he chose Aaron Rodgers, saying Aaron Rodgers has been incredible this year, only 24 touchdowns and only 2 picks, and this is with 0 first-round picks, and outside of Devontae Adams, a pretty subpar supporting cast around him. I actually had Aaron Rodgers also until I went over a lot of this last night. I have to go with Patrick Mahomes for my pick. 400 more yards, but he has almost as many completions as Aaron Rodgers does attempts. 1 more touchdown, 1 less pick, and a 1% less completion percentage. Patrick Mahomes, reigning MVP. If he continues on this path, may win another one. Aaron Rodgers may win another one. Very close competition in this one. Russell Wilson was leading it for a while, threw a few picks, and out of this list leads in that category. Also leads in touchdowns, so I guess go either way. And he has the highest completion percentage. But with that many picks, I don't know if I can give him an MVP this year. He's going to have to stop throwing picks, and the others are going to have to start for me to give him the MVP. Newbie Josh Allen from Buffalo, playing lights out, has a NFL leading receiver, but no run game. Hanging up there with Patrick Mahomes. Can't really give him the MVP this year. He has been running. He has some rushing yards too, but for MVP, you're going to have a lot of rushing yards if you're going to make up for that lack of passing yards. And then the old man Tom Brady, not really a serious MVP candidate this year, has been playing pretty well off and on, had a really bad game against the Saints, kind of pushed him out of the MVP race, but when I made this list, he was still on there, so I had to still include him. So Justin has Aaron Rodgers, I got Patrick Mahomes. We'll see how that plays out the rest of the year. Moving on to Offensive Player of the Year. Like I said before, typically goes to quarterback or really good running back, or if your name's Calvin Johnson. The nominees, we have a longer list on this one because I had to include a few more positions. Dalvin Cook, 144 attempts, 858 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Derrick Henry, the face of the running back position, 182 attempts, 843 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, 91 targets, 63 receptions, 813 yards, and 3 touchdowns. DK Metcalf, 68 targets, 43 receptions, 788 yards, 8 touchdowns, and a very long chase down tackle against the Cardinals. Not that that plays into contention for this, I just have to mention it again. Patrick Mahomes, same stats as before. Aaron Rodgers, same stats as before. Russell Wilson, you guessed it, same stats as before. Alvin Kamara, 96 attempts, 471 yards, 5 touchdowns, 60 receptions, 565 yards, and 3 touchdowns. A lot of analysts have Alvin Kamara, and our very own Justin McGovern also went with Alvin Kamara, saying Michael Thomas's issues have made things tough on the Saints, but Kamara has been the guy and has kept the offense afloat. He is their leading rusher and leading receiver. Normally, I would agree with him. Alvin Kamara is playing really well, but the fact that he is almost 400 yards rushing less than Dalvin Cook, I know he has a lot of receiving yards and a few touchdowns there, but still has less total touchdowns. I have to go with Dalvin Cook playing lights out this year on a really bad football team. Kirk Cousins is not Monday Night Kirk from last year. He's been playing pretty bad. Can't get the ball to Thielen. Can't get the ball to really Jefferson that much either. Dalvin Cook, pretty much the only bright spot on that team. I got to go with Derrick Henry. Justin goes with Alvin Kamara. Another possible pick for this one, since I went with Pat Mahomes, I would have to go with Aaron Rodgers here. And since Justin went with Aaron Rodgers for his MVP, you can make a case for Patrick Mahomes and Offensive Player of the Year as well. Moving on to Defensive Player of the Year, pretty much been dominated by our first nominee, Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald has 26 total tackles, 15 solo tackles, 11 assists, 9 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. Our other nominee, Myles Garrett, 25 total tackles, 19 solo, 6 assists, 9 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. And then TJ Watt, 25 total tackles, 19 solo, 6 assists, 7 sacks. No, like I said before, normally this goes to Aaron Donald. That's who Justin has, saying he's an absolute unit of a man. How many of these awards is this guy really going to have at the end of his career? I'm probably going to say another 5 to 7 to 10 more. Not this year for me, though. Myles Garrett, 1 less total tackle, 4 more solo tackles, same amount of sacks, 2 more turnovers. And then TJ Watt, he doesn't have any turnovers, 2 less sacks. Can't really go with TJ Watt this year. But Myles Garrett got that big contract in the offseason, playing real well. It's a toss-up. It's going to be close. Aaron Donald versus Myles Garrett for Defensive Player of the Year. It's already split. Justin has Aaron Donald. I have Myles Garrett. Now on to the rookies. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Our nominees are Justin Herbert, Air Bear, 181 completions, 269 attempts, 2,146 yards, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 67.3% completion percentage. We have Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals, 221 completions, 330 attempts, 2,272 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 67% completion percentage. You just saw the camera shake there. My cat was playing with the camera. I do apologize. We have Clyde Edwards-Helaire from Kansas City, 126 rushing attempts, 586 yards, 2 touchdowns, 28 receptions, 224 yards, and a touchdown. And then the biggest surprise for me personally this season, James Robinson, running back for Jacksonville Jaguars, 132 attempts, 580 yards, 5 touchdowns, 27 receptions, 225 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The fact that there are 2 running backs doing this well is pretty astounding, especially for Offensive Rookie of the Year. A lot of people have been talking about James Robinson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. None of them really have them as number 1. Justin and I agree. Justin has Joe Burrow, saying this is such a tough contest between him, Herbert, and James Robinson. Burrow has carried this offense and clearly has made it better despite being behind a bad offensive line. And by bad, we mean bad. Like one of the worst in the NFL, one of the worst I've ever seen in my life. And Joe Burrow has turned that team into, they only have 2 wins, but ESPN released a graphic saying that they're in the playoff hunt, so I guess that means something. I'm going to disagree on this one. I had Joe Burrow for most of the year, but Justin Herbert, 100 and so less yards on 3 less games, 6 more touchdowns, same amount of picks, pretty much the same completion percentage. Got to go with Justin Herbert on this one. Both teams are terrible. The only good team is the Chiefs, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is kind of losing his role, part of his role to Le'Veon Bell. So Justin Herbert wins the award for me. They keep having the lead and they keep losing it. So them losing isn't necessarily on Justin Herbert. It's more on the defense. He's been playing lights out a lot better than a lot of people thought. I actually thought he was going to do this well, but I actually thought Joe Burrow was going to do better this year. Not saying Joe Burrow is doing bad, but I thought Joe Burrow was going to outplay Justin Herbert. That is not the case for me. So Justin Herbert for me, Joe Burrow for Justin. Defensive Rookie of the Year. We have 3 pretty serious candidates here, 2 in real contention. We have Antoine Winfield Jr. from Tampa Bay, 51 total tackles, 34 solo, 17 assists, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 1 interception. We have Chase Young from the Washington unnamed football team, 20 total tackles, 16 solo, 4 assists, 3.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. And Patrick Queen from Baltimore, 50 total tackles, 36 solo, 14 assists, and 2 sacks, no turnovers. Justin points out that Chase Young is his pick, and he's been as dominant for the team without a name as expected. Pretty much a highlight of that defense. To me, pretty much a highlight of that team and maybe even that division. I disagree on this one. Antoine Winfield has 31 more tackles. He does play safety, so he is going to get more tackles, but he has 1.5 less sacks and 1 more turnover. So I'm going to have to go with Antoine Winfield Jr. on this one. He's playing like his dad out there. Main reason why that defense has been playing so well is Antoine Winfield. It's going to be between Chase Young and Antoine Winfield the rest of the year. Patrick Queen playing pretty well, but without those turnovers, I don't know if I can put him in that conversation. We do have an agreement here. Coach of the Year. Candidates. Mike Tomlin, only undefeated team. Brian Flores from Miami. And Sean McDermott from Buffalo. Justin picks Mike Tomlin. He's the only coach. He's the coach of the only undefeated team, and he's going to get this award. There wasn't a lot of expectations for the Steelers entering the year, and they've emerged as the top non-Chief Super Bowl threat. I agree with him. Mike Tomlin has the team playing really well. Last year, Big Ben went down with an injury. They were like 7-9, 8-8, something like that. Without him, this year they're undefeated, on their way to possibly contention for the Super Bowl. And as Justin pointed out, there were no really expectations for them. No real analyst had the Steelers going very far, doing that well. They had the Ravens winning the division by a lot. Steelers have been surprising for a lot of people. Mike Tomlin gets the award this year. Close second was, or not really close second, but second place, Brian Flores took a 5-11 team from last year. They got Tua, made a questionable decision starting Ryan Fitzpatrick. Went 3-3 with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Made an even more surprising benching of Ryan Fitzpatrick for the unproven rookie Tua. Tua's won the last 2 games against the NFC West, beat the Los Angeles Rams, beat the Arizona Cardinals. Miami's looking pretty good. Brian Flores has that team playing real well and has that defense contributing a lot more than a lot of people thought. And Sean McDermott, Bills made the playoffs last year, lost in the first round to the Texans. This year, they're off to a 7-2 start and in contention for a deep run in the playoffs. Sean McDermott probably will win the award if the Steelers fall off. I see him winning it over Brian Flores if that's the case. But I have him third for the sole fact that Mike Tomlin has been playing well, or been coaching real well, and Brian Flores took a really bad football team and turned them into the second place team behind the Bills in that division. So Justin and I finally agree on something. And our final segment of the day, our Dingus of the Year. This is kind of an award that goes to the most stupid player or coach. Last year, I would have to say Myles Garrett won that award. You can't take someone else's helmet off and then swing it at him. He won the award last year. He's playing so well this year, he's not going to be on that list. Hasn't done anything stupid either. The Stupid Person of the Year, the Dingus of the Year award. Justin and I both agree on this one as well. It is Adam Gase. Justin says Monday's game against the Patriots shows why he's still employed with the Jets right now. Only he was incapable enough to lose that game. Jets front office wants to tank. The players and coaches don't. But Gase is so incapable as a coach that he's tanking for the Jets anyway. That is pretty much what I have too. This year, Gase is ruining an already ruined franchise. Everyone with talent wants out. There's a defensive end, I forget his name, wants out. Jamal Adams verbally has wanted out for a couple years. Le'Veon Bell wanted out. I don't know why Sam Darnold hasn't said anything. Maybe he's just a nice guy, but Adam Gase is ruining yet another franchise. Tanking for Trevor or not, Gase is a dingus and a stooge. Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator from Kansas City Chiefs would make a much better coach. Don't know why Adam Gase is still employed. But he also ruined Miami when he was a coach there. And it took 3 or 4 years for Miami to bounce back. And look where they are now, 5-3. 5 more wins than the Jets. Jets are probably not going to be good for a very long time. But our dingus of the year goes to Adam Gase. Adam Gase was second last year. Probably would have won it last year if it wasn't for Myles Garrett. But that is the show. Sorry to end it so abruptly. There's not much else to talk about. Those are the awards. We have Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes as MVP. We have Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook as Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Chase Young and Antoine Winfield Jr. Coach of the Year, Mike Tomlin. Dingus of the Year is Adam Gase. If you like the show, please subscribe. If you didn't, just pretend like you didn't watch the show. But subscribe down below. Hit the notification button if you like us that much. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Updog Sports Talk. Can always use more followers. We give most of our updates on Twitter anyway. So if you like us a lot, give us a follow. If you don't, tell a friend. Maybe they'll like us instead. But I am Matt Miller signing off. See you later, guys.